Peace, hello, and welcome to Cooking with Symptometry in Mind on this winter solstice evening of 2012. So my cookbook just came in the mail today, Delicious Cooking, and I'm really excited to get started. So I figured we'd start with the basic ginger drink that's in the book, because sometimes people are visual learners and it's easier to see rather than to read the whole complex thing, because I have a feeling that people are new to cooking with symptometry in mind, but there might be some of you who are also new to cooking, period. So I wanted to help you get acquainted in the kitchen to get a really good start for a healthy 2013. And so here we go. We're going to make the ginger drink. So I highly recommend going to symptometrybooks.com and picking up a copy of this book. I'm not going to give the exact recipe in the book. I'm just going to show you how to do it. So you're going to have to head on over there and get the book, or contact Dr.Nartey and get your consultation and ask him directly as part of your treatment plan what the recipe exactly is, and then you can check this video out for reference to see the how-to. All right, so I'm going to get started. I had already washed and prepared my ginger rhizome here. It was nice and fresh. And so I went ahead and prepared the amount that we're going to need. But basically, you just, you start with a root, and you're going to want to get all the little parts down so you have a nice piece of the rhizome to work with. So you're just going to use a peeler, potato peeler. If you're new to cooking, this is a really nice peeler. It's very sharp. It works well on winter squash, potatoes, pretty much whatever you need in the kitchen. It's a real champ. And so you're just going to want to get a big knife. And I always cut things that have a round edge to them. I cut them in half first so that there's a flat surface. That's the safest way to cut, especially if things have a tendency to roll. Then I slice down the middle. And then you're just going to do little slices. And if you have a nice sharp knife and a heavy, and enough strength to cut through it, it should come apart pretty easily. But it is a pretty fibrous rhizome, so you're going to want to break up these pieces to make it easy on your blender. And here's an example of a piece that really didn't come apart. I cut this and it was really sticking. So you're just going to have to, get in there, get busy, go for it. Think about all the nutrients you're going to be getting and energy from all the copper that's in this drink, and get started. So, Dr. Nartey talks about how we really don't need high-tech blenders. I'm a foodie from the age of, Vitamix is the way to go with the high-powered speed that can blend anything. And he was saying that it's really important to just have a very inexpensive blender with a rotary blade. So I just have, this old school one here. The bottom does screw off for easy cleaning, and it has a nice glass blender part. So I take the amount of ginger that I have and I divide it into 4 equal parts. So I'm just going to do that quickly. We're going to get started. So this is a process of energizing up the ginger. So we're going to see bringing energy to the ginger by the force of the blender blasting apart the fibrous ginger will release all of its goodness. So we're going to head over here to our blender. Now, I always want to make sure the bottom is on really tight. And here's your top. So, added one of these. So it's basically, I usually do 1-to-1. So a quarter of the ginger, total of the ginger recipe, and a quarter of the water. And the process of having it timed is really stressed in the recipe. So I suggest just getting a timer. So I use. So here we go. first minute has passed. And it's always recommended in symptometry that we don't use metal when we're making these therapeutic beverages because the metal tends to contaminate the beverage. You can get strainers that are made of nylon. I don't have one of those. I'm a cheese maker. This is a cheese bag or a jelly bag. So I just got this wet and I'm putting it on here. It also makes it really nice and easy when you go to strain out all of the goodness. So I'm just going to tie this onto my mason jar here. This is a half-gallon mason jar, so I hope that it all fits in here by the time that we're done, and I think that it will. And then you just pour off what's in there. And now we're going to repeat the process. This gives the blender a little time to rest too. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, Rose. No, you don't have to. Just put it in there. And then one of these. I just have everything pre-measured out. I'm just doing, it's pretty much like a half a cup of ginger and 1 cup of water, but it's not exact. So you want to get the exact details in the Delicious Cooking book because it's really important to read all the little scientific details. I'm merely a student and somebody who likes to cook, so I'm not the author of this science by any means. So here we go. We're going to get started. I started out with the grinding a little bit because the pieces are really fibrous and the blender is, it's strong, but you want to not push it too much. So I start with the grate and then go to liquefy. So here we go. Jelly bag. And then add that in there. Add one more. Make sure at the top. Another round. So you can see it fits quite nicely in the mason jar. It gives you enough room to work. And there's enough room for the bag in there as well. Last round of our proportions, how we did it. through the last round of all that noise. And so we'll put it in here. And like you said, the really nice thing about using the cloth bag is that you can just strain it out and get all of that juice that's still going to be trapped in the fibers out. I'm just going to use this as a canning funnel. It just helps get the mess a little more directed. If you don't have all this stuff in your kitchen, don't worry. This is a pretty simple thing to make, and you could make it relatively easily. You could use cheesecloth, you could use a nylon strainer, but if you're really going to get serious about healing yourself, it's best to invest in some really key kitchen tools. And we'll be coming at you all this winter with helpful tips and recipes and tools of cooking with symptometry in mind. I've been cooking with symptometry since March of 2012 when I first met Dr.Nartey on original native radio. It was really powerful, the impact that it had on me, and so I really changed. I had been a hardcore vegan for 17 years, and he really taught me a lot of things, so I made some changes. So this is my my Sympto honey that I already have measured out. So Sympto honey is honey, high quality honey blended with rice vinegar. So I already had that measured out just to move this process along here. So once you've got everything strained, you're going to add that to your Sympto honey, to your ginger mixture here, your ginger juice. I think I got all that. And again, I'm using a plastic spoon because the metal contaminates the beverages. And if you're more ITAL, you could use your wooden spoon. But just, you want to avoid the metal. And then I'm going to add the last round of cold water that they said. And mason jars usually come with metal tops. But again, the metal contaminates the beverage. So they make these plastic lids that aren't for canning, that for a lot of people who use mason jars as their thing. So now it's all mixed, and we're going to let it sit for 10 minutes before drinking it or before refrigerating it to let everything set and be optimally in